Hi, I'm Crystal. Today I'm going to be making some retro TV tags from the Tim Holtz Bigz die. One using the Sizzix dome shaker and one making my own. Starting out, I'm just going to cut out all the pieces from the steel roll die. I really tried hard to not buy any craft supplies this year, but Sizzix did have this on clearance on Black Friday, so I could not resist. And I do love a steel roll die because you can cut out all the pieces at once and you can cut out multiples so easily. So I've seen a lot of cute projects using this die as well. So I cut out all the pieces and now I'm just assembling them. I'm attaching the feet to the television, and then I'm attaching the little control box to the side of the television. And then we're going to put on the knobs that I cut out of some shiny silver paper for the channel and volume control. Back in the day, of course, children were the remote control. I certainly remember that. Then for the antenna, I'm just going to cut off these brown antennae. It's easier to just attach the new silver antenna. So I cut off the brown antenna and then I'm just going to glue this little bit of silver antenna onto the back of the TV frame. Much quicker than trying to line up the pieces. Once I've got that in place, I'm going to put a little piece of masking tape on the back of this grill opening, put a little glue on that masking tape to put in my piece of paper here. And then I'm going to put in the screen, and it is symmetrical, so thank goodness you don't have to worry about which way is up. And I'm going to use that shaker pouch that comes from Sizzix that's a matching size to do my shaker element. But I find it a little bit easier to be able to pick up the entire shaker element, so I glued my screen onto a piece of paper and then attached that to my shaker element so I can pick the whole thing up. But I've got a little bit of a frame around it to glue in place. So I'm just marking where the TV hole is going onto my tag, and then I'm going to attach my shaker element into that spot. And then I'm going to put the TV over the shaker element onto this tag. Now I did not have a tag shape large enough. I had to cut a custom shape because this retro TV is sized for the front of an A2 card, so it's a very big tag. But isn't that cute? So quick and easy with that prepared dome. Now here I'm going to make my own shaker, and I'm using some transparency film. I am rich in transparency film. My office moved a couple years ago and we had a big box of it. I have not worked my way through all of it yet. So, beauty of a steel roll die, I just cut, I think, 19 copies. So I stacked them up in pieces of 4. I set those aside to dry a little bit. And I kept back 3. I need 2 for the back and 1 for the front. So I'm going to start out by building the back. And so I stamped a little something to put on the screen of my TV, and I'm going to layer that between 2 die cuts. And once I've got those in place, I've got the back of the screen nicely covered up by that second die, and everything's in place. And so you won't be able to tell that there's this big white piece of paper that I just cut to a convenient size. We'll have a nice clean back to this. And since I'm going to use this as a package tag on a gift of some Blu-ray discs, I really want the back to be equally attractive. So you just kind of wiggle it in place, because you've got some time with that liquid glue. We'll set that aside to dry. And now I'm going to work on the front layer. So I'm using some Foundry Wax to make my legs metallic on this version. This stuff is so great. So I just spread it out a little bit with my finger, and then I'm going to heat set it with my heat tool. And it is so beautifully shiny when you get done, and so much faster than embossing powder. So if you haven't tried this, I really recommend it. I know I'm trying not to shop, and I don't mean to make other people shop, but man, this stuff is the bomb. So look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. So next I'm going to do a little bit of partial embossing on my TV antenna to make them silver. And I'm just going to smush a little bit of Versamark ink onto the antenna so they'll be nice and sticky. Then I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of silver embossing powder onto the antenna, using a nice clean dry piece of paper so that embossing powder doesn't stick to anything but the TV antenna. I can pick up the excess and put it back in the jar. Then I've got my little homemade embossing tray there. It's just a box top and a piece of tape with some tin foil. So heating up my antenna till they're shiny and melted. That turned out great. And now I can attach my other little bits and bobs and screen. So I'm going to clean up my space. Want to make sure I don't have anything that sticks to my screen. And I'm sprinkling a little bit of baby powder onto the screen for anti-static. And then since the screen is plastic, I'm using double-sided tape to attach it. PVA glue needs to evaporate in order to work, and really the plastic doesn't leave any place for the PVA glue to evaporate the liquid part out. So the double-sided tape is really crucial if you're going to attach anything that's made of plastic. So transparency film, acrylic, any kind of UPO paper, all of that is plastic. So I've got double-sided tape holding it to the TV frame, and then I'm going to have another piece of double-sided tape here to attach it to my stack of extra die cuts that are going to make the well for my shaker. So once I've got all that screen built, I'm going to stack up my die cuts. It makes a nice deep well. And I'm just going to use liquid glue to do that. Get a nice thick coverage because I want everything to stick together, and I'm just wiggling it in place. And there we go. Our well is ready to go. So I'm going to fill that up with my shaker bits. And then I'm going to attach my, my top layer that includes the TV screen. And then we are going to be done. So this double-sided tape, I have fingernails and I can't get the cover off this double-sided tape, but the craft pick is great for that. So a little glue where I didn't have the double-sided tape, the glue is attaching paper to paper, and wiggle everything into place, and we are good to go. So I think these make super, super cute tags. I really enjoy the Bigz dies, the steel rule dies. And so if you've bought this die, I hope you enjoy it as much as I have. Thank you for joining me today.